protect their communities. As President of the United States, what could you do to help increase public confidence in law enforcement with all communities?
Well, first let me say this is one of those issues that primarily is being resolved at the local and state level, because these police departments don't work for the federal government. But your own home state senator, Tim Scott, has proposed funding so that local jurisdictions that are interested in doing it can buy body cameras. I'm not against that, because that actually helps prosecute people too, because it will capture some of this and can prove things in court, and it protects the officers from unfair accusations as well. I want to acknowledge two things, and these are both important. Let me acknowledge the first. It is a fact that in this country, in minority communities, primarily in the African American community, in some parts of this country, there is not a good relationship between the community and law enforcement for a variety of issues. That is a fact. There are communities in this country where that exists, and we cannot ignore it. It is a reality, and I know people who feel this way. And the fact that so many of our citizens feel this way makes it an issue that we need to talk about. And there are reasons for it. A young male gets in trouble with the law at 18 years of age, is arrested, is assigned a public defender. The public defender, who has 1,000 other cases, says, just plead guilty. Get this out of the way, you get 6 months probation, you're all free and clear. But they don't tell them, this is on your record for the rest of your life. Now no one is going to hire you. Now you're going to be stigmatized and so forth. And so suddenly the people begin to become stigmatized, they fall into this trap, and then it goes from there. I know people who feel like they've been targeted, and they've been pulled over numerous times in a given year for no reason, and it undermines confidence and credibility. That is a legitimate issue. We cannot ignore it. Here's what I also know. I also know that every single day, while my kids are asleep at home and I'm traveling the country running for president, there are men and women in uniform patrolling the streets that are the last thing standing between my family and a dangerous criminal. And if my family gets into a problem or something goes wrong, the first thing we're going to do is call them. And they are willing to come to my house and potentially die to prevent my family from being harmed. And so we can't forget that either. We can't forget that, yes, we've had some horrible tragedies in this country, and they need to be confronted, and those underlying issues that exist between law enforcement and local communities has to be addressed. We can't have such a large segment of our population feeling as if they're being locked out or left behind. This is a legitimate issue. It robs us of this human capital, the talents of these individuals. We also cannot forget that every single day there are mothers and fathers and husbands and wives who put on that uniform and that badge, and they are the thin blue line that stands between us and really dangerous people who don't just seek to steal our property or speed, but who are willing to kill us and harm us and do terrible things. And they have a right to go home to their families at night as well. And they have a right to have our support and our safety. So as president, when there are horrible tragedies around this country and someone is treated unfairly by law enforcement and something happens, we're going to acknowledge that. But you're also going to see a president that's going to be showing up at the funerals of men and women who lose their lives in the protection of our communities. You're also going to have a president that acknowledges that every single day and night, our men and women who are serving us in law enforcement in this country are interacting with some of the most dangerous people imaginable so that you and I don't have to. And we're not going to put them in a position where they're being singled out or stigmatized or disrespected. Because the overwhelming majority of people in law enforcement, I mean the overwhelming majority, are people that care about their community and care about the service they provide. And as I said, their lives are valuable and their service to our country is valuable too.